Today we talk about printing surfaces. The print bed or print surface is debatably the most important part of your 3D printer. If it's not flat, level, and you don't have the proper adhesion to your 3D print, you're not going to get very far with 3D printing. Now there are a couple of pieces to this equation. There's the bed that you print on, and then there's surface treatment that helps the adhesion of the 3D printed part to that bed. Beds are pretty commonly made from aluminum, glass, phenolic, or a combination of a couple of those things. But I've even printed on just plain old particle board with some success. Now beds can be heated or not, but you're going to have a lot more success on certain types of filament as well as certain types of surface treatment. Like ABS, for example, sticks much better on a heated bed. It's very common to see a thin PCB as a heat bed paired up with either a glass sheet or an aluminum sheet, or you see them that are all one piece. This is a PCB that is actually part of a 3mm aluminum sheet. And there's many other choices that you can use to achieve a heated bed. But the main focus for all of this is to give you a nice level surface to 3D print on. The only problem is, most of the time, you can't print directly on the heat bed. You need something to aid your adhesion of your 3D print. And that's where this long list of bed treatments comes in. So we'll start at the bottom and work our way up, starting with glue stick. There are many different brands of glue stick, and the one you use usually depends on where you're located. Here in the United States, I really like Elmer's Disappearing Purple. Now glue stick is going to work on a non-heated bed, but it's going to work a lot better on a heated bed. Most of these glues are PVA based, and it's probably the cheapest and easiest to get out of this whole lineup. The only caveat to glue stick is you need to apply it evenly over the whole print surface, or you're going to have some unpredictability. If you apply too much, the build surface might be a little high. If you don't apply enough, the build surface might be a little too low. Next up, we have hairspray. Now hairspray can be used on an unheated bed, but it does have some interesting properties on a heated bed. If you apply the hairspray and then let the bed cool down after the print's finished, the print will just pop right off. Hairspray is a lot easier to apply evenly over the build surface, but it's a lot messier, and it's really easy to get it on your bearings and your printed parts. So be careful when using a lot of hairspray. Then we have the tried and true masking tape, or what I like, blue painter's tape. Now the blue painter's tape is the surefire way to get a print to stick, especially on a non-heated bed. Your only problem with tape is usually you have to replace it every time you do a print, because when you pull the print off, it's going to pull the tape right with it. But if you're in a pinch, painter's tape will usually work every time. And there's a lot more options than these for temporary bed adhesion, like 3D lac or magic goo or ABS juice, which is a mix of ABS plastic and acetone. But those are all going to be temporary solutions, and you have to reapply them every couple of prints. So now we're going to move to a little more permanent solution for 3D bed adhesion. So then we move to the thinner sheets of bed treatments, like build tack and just a thin sheet of PEI. I've had these surfaces last for hundreds of hours, especially PEI, and the only reason why I had to replace it is because I tore it with a scraper. Personal opinion, I prefer PEI over build tack because it has a little more give to it. It's almost like the printed part sinks into it a little bit to help the adhesion. Then we move up to the little thicker build surfaces. These are going to last a little longer than the regular adhesive sticker type. We have a 1mm PEI sheet. We've got a Print and Z's skin, that's a fiber-based material. And we also have a Gecko Tech sheet. Now these are stick-on sheets, but they're a little thicker than a regular stick-on PEI sheet or a build tack sheet. You can get these in hot and cold. They're a little bit different mix of plastic, and they are quite a bit more rugged than a build tack sheet would be. One caution is, don't ever use acetone on one of these sheets. You will ruin it. So then you have pretty much the top of the line of printing surfaces. You have things like spring steel sheets. This is a Prusa sheet that's coated with smooth PEI, but there's more and more powder-coated PEI sheets available nowadays. And then you have such things like a Print and Z build plate. A Print and Z build plate is a fiber-based material. It is flexible, but it also has copper inside, so you can use it with an inductive probe. It's around 3mm thick, and these things last forever. So I think it's important to mention one more time, all the things I just showed you are print surface treatments. You still need a print bed that's nice and level to be able to use them, so like a glass sheet or an aluminum plate, even with the thicker options like the Print and Z build plate. So that probably raises more questions than it answers as usual, but the main question being, which surface should you use? Well, I really can't tell you that. because there's a surface for the job and for the printer that's going to work best. I can give you my opinion, and I've had lots of luck with the thin PEI sheets. The one that comes on the Prusa MK2 that's attached to a piece of phenolic or PCB material works great and has lasted hundreds of hours and hundreds of prints. I also like the PEI sheets that come on the spring steel sheets. This one's off a Prusa MK3, but these are available from lots of different vendors, so you're going to have a lot of different choices there. I hope this answered some questions. A big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. These videos are just for you, and I'll see you on the next coffee break.